Lawrence's brother, audio engineer, been to Full Sail, been doing live audio for 16 years. Done a lot of national recording artists, acts, gospel and secular, just about every genre. A little bit about me. You're doing sound. Feedback is going to come typically from the last thing that you did. So if praise and worship is going, everything's fine, and then they say, I can't hear the monitors, and you say, all right, well, let me turn her up in the monitor. And you turn her up in the monitor, then it starts ringing. Obviously, turning her up is what caused the feedback. But at that time, before you turn it back down, the first thing you want to do is listen and figure out, is that a low, a mid, or a high? Then at that point, kill the feedback, which is going to be drop that particular channel out of whatever it was in and then bring it back in. So for instance, if the kick is causing feedback in the house, drop it down and then bring it right back up a little bit lower than where it was at, because you don't want to start the feedback again. Now that it's lower than where it was at, you should have time. Feedback probably won't start if you push it too far, it might. But now that it's back, you can say, okay, that was a low feedback. Let me pull a little bit of lows out of this kick. Now that I've pulled some lows out, I can edge it back up and try to put it where I was putting it before. Same thing with the monitors. Go ahead.
Can you tell us about how the two knobs control, like selecting the actual frequency?
Yeah, the top one selects it and the bottom one boosts it or cuts it.
Okay.
And if you'll notice, the low frequency is 250 and the highest frequency is 5K. And there's no numbers in between, but you can just kind of guess. You can kind of guess where it's at or listen. But my guess would be 1K would be about straight up. Can't say for sure, but that would be my guess. So if you're trying to, if you're trying to eliminate highs, you would just knock the highs down a little bit. If you're trying to eliminate lows, knock the lows down a little bit. And then if you're trying to get rid of mids, maybe turn it a little bit to the mid side and bring it down a little bit. And then, try to go back where you were going. If you were trying to give more of whatever before it started ringing, once you've taken the feedback out of it, then you can try to push it up a little bit more and see if you can get to where you were going. EQing in general, aside from feedback, there's going to be two ways to do everything. When you listen to something, it may sound muddy or just unclear. Typically, if something sounds unclear, there's not enough highs or too much bass. Either way, if you correct either problem, you'll fix it. So if it's muddy, you can pull the bass out, which will let the highs stand out a little bit and make it sound clearer.
I normally start with the bass first.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all up to you whether you like to add or subtract stuff. Me, particularly when I'm dealing with EQing, I'll most likely take stuff out. So if I've got something that sounds muddy, I'm going to take the bass out. But, if you want, you can turn the highs up. That'll clean it up too. Same thing, vice versa. If it's just way too bright, just, so bright that it's piercing or whatever, you can turn the bass up, which will bring some low end in and warm it up and make it sound more pleasant, or you can take some of the highs out and tone it down that way. So with the EQ, there's two ways to do everything, and when you're running sound, there's two ways to do everything. Same way if, let's say, during praise and worship, the vocals ain't loud enough. You can do one of two things. You can bring the music down, which will make the vocals stand out a little more, or you can bring the vocals up. It's all on what you want volume-wise in the building. If you feel the volume's already too loud and you can't hear the vocals, then bring the music down. That's going to bring everything down. But if you want more volume in the building, push them up.
That's really my preference. I like to bring it down. I want to hear the sound.
Right.
But if it's uncomfortable, you're defeating the purpose.
Right.
But Pastor likes loud.
And I've heard that, and he is nothing compared to me. Y'all come to Evangel one day and sit up underneath one of my services, and I'll show y'all what loud is, bro.
Well, you guys
volume
have
is what I do.
thousands and
It's
thousands of square feet.
yeah, but it's still a
I
little
can't
much.
make that same argument as dude, because me myself, I like it loud too.
Right.
I like to feel the bass, you know.
Oh, got to.
During
Got to.
praise and worship and
Can't have
everything,
without.
but it shouldn't be uncomfortable where people can't even really enjoy the service.
And that's the problem that I fight sometimes
That's-
at
that's
evangel,
my
because
perspective.
if I get really carried away, then it can get too loud to the people on the floor. And see, the one thing we don't have at evangel that y'all have here, I'm not in the speaker range. All of the speakers are aimed at the floor. There's a little row of speakers up on the top in the balcony, but they don't
So
really
you're
hit me.
up in
They're
the
shooting
ivory tower.
over my head. Right. I'm not getting the sound that they're getting down there on the floor so much. So when I'm pushing harder to make it sound good for me, I could be killing them downstairs. But see, y'all don't have that because y'all right here in the speakers. So that kind of helps out.
I know what you're saying, because like when I used to do parties or whatever, my speakers are pushing out. So I'm playing, I can't hear what I'm playing. I hear it, but I
Right.
can't hear it.
Right.
So I'm steadily pushing up
Right.
so I can hear it, because the speakers are facing away from me.
Okay.
And what
Can you
we do in that
address?
situation is we just put a little monitor like that on the table or on the floor so you can hear what you're doing what's coming out. Go ahead.
Now,
That's
for
why
whoever our trainees that might have to view this later, explain the different mixes. Like you have the house mix, you have different mixes.
Talking about it in this building?
I mean, in the sound mix, the sound you have.
I think he said
You're talking about monitors as far as the
You
house?
have monitor mixes, you have house mixes.
Yeah, I mean, as far as here goes, the
Explain
only
that.
thing y'all have is the house mix, which
And the
is
monitor.
what everybody sitting in the audience is going to hear. Then you've got your monitors on stage, which is for the vocals.
Floor monitors.
So you've got, right, floor monitors for the vocals. That's one mix. Then you also have the mix for the musicians, but I don't think y'all control that, do you? The keyboard mix and everything? I know she feeds into it, and she's got volume.
We control.
You do send some stuff to
We
it?
we had her set at a certain
Level
point,
in there.
and then we control everything else. So if she wants more, we give her more.
Oh, okay. So yeah, then you also have the musician monitor there as well. So she is monitor number 2?
She's
Aux
2.
Okay. So you use your auxes on the board to send out to your respective mixes, also to send out to your CD player under the table, and also if y'all ever do recording again on the laptop.
What we do right now is it's like what we got going to the CD.
It's all one.
Only thing that's going to the CD is the mic, the cordless mic and the headset mic.
Right,
Okay.
Everything else is turned out of it.
right,
So when we record, you hear the past. Because what was happening was you were getting more of the music,
Right.
and it was drowning out the vocals,
Right.
or whoever was speaking. So what we did is we just if it's music playing, it's still gonna pick up the music, but it's gonna pick up the music through the microphone and not from everything else.
So what you want to do to correct that, you would turn down the music in aux 1. I wouldn't turn it off, but what I
it's
would
not
do,
off. It's just no, it is off because that's what the pastor requested. He just wanted,
if that's what he wanted,
Yeah.
then that's what you do. But typically in a situation like that, what I would do, he's preaching, as soon as she starts playing, I'm taking my headphones out of the board, sticking them into the CD player so I can hear what I'm recording, to make sure that she's not too loud in the CD, to make sure the rest of the band's not too loud. And you got aux 1
Pastor
with
has
which
mentioned that
to
again.
mix them.
Can you say that again? Exactly what you just said, because
We
like I
have
said,
that.
we're transitioning into
Right.
putting stuff on the internet and so forth.
Right. Well, that's the biggest thing. I mean, anytime you're recording
Getting a
something, you
clear
have to
audio.
get clear audio to it, and you have to listen to it. So if you've got a CD recording, you have got to periodically go ahead and listen to it. Now, if you get past the set straight and he's rolling good, that's fine. But as soon as another sound source, such as the keyboards or musicians, start up, you've got to put the headphones back on, listen to the mix, and adjust the mix accordingly.